I had the pleasant duty to introduce Artkanara and also to introduce our guest today. I'll request our guest, Captain Pradeep Shetty and also Dr. Ravishankar to come. Before I introduce them, a little about Artkanara. Artkanara came into existence very recently, and this is our second program. Now, Artkanara started with a group which is already operating in its place for some time. We know each other, and mostly with a background of art and art history, architecture and conservation. These are broadly the area. So invariably, based on our understanding, we feel that we need to really do a little bit of work, in-depth work, intimate work with art and craft and culture of this particular region. When we talk about region, we are talking about Tulunadu area, the coastal Karnataka part, which takes into account South Kannada, the Kannada district, then Udupi, and partly perhaps Patara, and this side up to Kasaragod. Now this is the area which shares a common culture, and because of that, in their art, language and so many other things, we find a common thread which is holding together. It is the sea which is protecting us from one side and the Western Ghat on the other, and that little strip is provided us the rich and varied biodiversity and cultural diversity. This is something which we need to retain. If we like to keep our roots intact, we need to look back. And that is the work we like to do through a little bit of research, academic works. And whenever we feel that we have enough documents and evidence, we like to share it with the people. And that sharing comes through this kind of occasion when we have exhibitions. Since all of us, we are related to a little bit of education, like my background also in teaching, Namiraj also has a teaching background. So all of us, we feel that we should also devote certain amount of our time in preparing the next generation. That means sharing our knowledge with them. More than knowledge, I like to say experience. Now is the time that I should introduce Captain Pradeep Shetty. Career starts long back in the defense. Started with the Defense Academy. Then he has gone as a fighter pilot and ends with the forces ultimately to train the corporate people. So in between, he has seen as a group leader, squadron leader in the fighter planes. He has seen India from a different perspective. He has a tremendous love for paintings and art-related things. And when I saw his house, he has a very large collection, although he doesn't like to say that he's a collector. So that is Captain Pradeep Shetty. And then Dr. Ravishankar Rao. He is associated with us in various ways. He is a professor of English. I don't think I like to go further, but a little about today's things that you see. There are 12 artists' work is presented here, where there are nearly more than 40 works which is on display. Good number of them are from Mangalore, but there are people from Udupi, there are people from Mangalore, Mumbai, and also from Hyderabad, and one or two from Bangalore. About abstract art, I don't need to say anything because it's something which is there. And also, it gives you total freedom to look at abstract art because you can interpret in your own way. So here there is no story that is telling you that I have to follow this particular line, but something is presented in front of you, and you can see the same language which is presented through color, textures and forms. But the artist enjoyed doing these things because he felt liberated to come out of the regular format, and artist also invites you to appreciate and liberate yourself to enjoy it.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, I'd like to thank Professor Basu for this privilege. He's been very generous with his words. We really don't have much of a collection. It was just a few paintings that we liked and we thought it but and a few artifacts. But I'm glad that a center like this has been started by the knowledge initiative here. It's up to the persons interpretation. The person who sees it and the artist, whatever he had in his mind when he painted it.
Good evening, everyone. The art scene is a very nascent kind of a scene in Mangalore. We are not used to art exhibitions, though we have had a large number of excellent artists over the previous 100 years, but we've not really had exhibitions which expose us to different facets of art. And I think Artkanara, S-Cube and all the other sister organizations have been doing a wonderful job in both rooting us into our culture and at the same time enabling us to move far beyond that imaginatively. I think the metaphor would of course be the root of the tree and the branches reaching out into the wide open sky. So you need to be rooted where you are. This is what is being celebrated here, the potential of the human race to reach beyond. That is what is being celebrated. My own introduction to art came a long time ago, and it ended up in a kind of a mistake because we had 4 paintings at home, which was the painting of 4 seasons of India, and my father told me that these were paintings by a painter called Walter Langham. For a long time I thought they were genuine paintings, till I realized that they were prints when I was much older. I realized they were prints. When I took them out for reframing, that's when I realized they were actually not the original paintings. They were pictures, they were prints. But it was only much later that I realized they were not paintings by Walter Langham at all. They were paintings by Sampath. And then I went into researching a bit into that and found that Sampath and Langham, and all of them were part of a large and vibrant artist group in Bombay. And it was from that, with which the JJ school is also associated, it was from that matrix that art exploded on the Indian scene. And that's a fantastic thing to go into how Indian art has originated. One problem with abstract art is that the first question that we normally ask is the wrong question. We are normally, when you see a painting, you say, oh, it looks like that, oh, it looks like this. It's this, it's that, you know. But this is not this, not that, not anything else. Now, how do you make sense out of a painting which doesn't relate to a certain set of correlatives? How do you do that? A certain set of reference. There are no reference as such. Now, what is it? Is it the Taj Mahal? Is it a flower? Is it a tree? Is it a building? It's none of those. So there are no reference to an abstract painting. So the first question that you ask could be the wrong question. What does it look like? Probably we should ask, what does it not look like? The artist has always been seen in Sanskrit aesthetics as a drishta, one who is able to see beyond. An art form like this is given to us. We see this, maybe there will be some opposition to that, some resistance to that. Robert Frost says this very nicely about modern poetry. And he says modern poetry is like playing tennis without the net. Modern poetry is like playing tennis without the net. Now, what kind of tennis is it? You play tennis without a net. It isn't tennis at all. So you might say, oh, this isn't art at all. It's a free-for-all. There's no net here. It's a free-for-all. So where is the art here? To understand that art need not be representation, that art can move beyond representation. I think that is the crux that we have to get to. When we do that, we'll be able to discover the lines and the textures and the shapes and the colors and the forms and so on. And all of these will draw our attention to the flow of life. And I don't think you can replicate, and I don't know, the artist should tell me that. Can you do the same painting again? I don't think so. I don't think there can be a replica of an abstract painting. Perhaps there can be a replica of a realist painting. Perhaps there can be. And all our art, our sculptures have been that. The same thing done over and over and over again. Each painting becomes unique, and unique to the painter and unique to the viewer reading it, or the purchaser reading that painting or seeing that painting. So this is the potential. This is the potential to create something unique, to be taken in by that painting, to be taken in by that painting. I think that is the important thing for us. It's so very childlike actually. It's like a child. It's so very childlike, so very innocent, that it calls for our support. I'm not playing to the gallery, nor am I making a brief for the artists, but I think one of the basic things we need to do in an exhibition of this kind is to support the artists. And I would be failing in my duty if I did not mention this as well, that we need to purchase paintings so that the artists would get an endorsement from us that they are on the right track, and that would give them the courage and the strength to go forward and do something more.